I want to welcome everyone here to the first Local Spins Live at River City Studios here, our first podcast involving a band. We will be interviewing the band. We will be listening to their songs from their brand new album. We're sort of excited to have this be part of the Local Spins repertoire now. And it's also something that I think is going to give you guys a chance to participate as well. I'll ask them some questions. We'll interview the band in between songs. But at one point later on in the podcast, I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions as well, because I do think sometimes people ask me, well, why didn't you ask them this? So now this is your opportunity. If you've always wanted to ask some crazy question of a band, this will be your opportunity here. We got Ghost Heart. This is a band that put out its first album back in 2011 called The Tunnel. It got a bit of attention nationally, online and elsewhere, and it's experimental rock with a little bit of an ambient feel. I'll have them describe exactly what they want to describe their music as later on in the podcast. Also had a little bit of a shoegaze flavor to some of the stuff, but in essence, I think it's an amazingly unique approach and maybe a sort of a Michigan flair to the kind of music that they play. And we're very happy to have them here for the Local Spins Live podcast. So welcome, boys.
Thank you.
So we have Tim Broderick on vocals, Cedric Canaro on percussion, Justin Gray on guitar, and Troy Rymick on guitar, and also a lot of percussion. And I know that with your brand new album, it was also recorded at Goon Lagoon Studios, which is an all-analog studio here in Grand Rapids. You guys really came up with something a little bit different, I think, a little bit different vibe on this particular album than on the first one. So maybe you can describe for us, what is it that made this album a little bit of a difference from the first one that you guys produced?
We kind of went in to record this album thinking that we would record the songs a little bit more structured than the last album. We kind of met with Tommy before we went into the studio for the first album and thought we would just kind of like jam, you know? And some songs, we had one song that was like 10 minutes long. Did we break the 10-minute mark? I think.
We're close.
Yeah, close anyway. So this time, the songs were much more structured, and we knew exactly where they started and ended. And I think it sounds much better this time.
We took our time writing it, clearly.
Yes, it's been 3 years since the last album. The Effigy is going to be released officially November 29th at Founders Brewing, for those that may not know that the big coming out party for this album is finally coming. So what is it that took this much time and care and energy to really put together what is the penultimate Ghost Heart album?
We don't write and record as quickly as a lot of bands do, so we're not always putting stuff out, like, on the internet or whatever. We're kind of stuck on the idea that an album is something to be like labored over, and we come to fisticuffs over one part versus another part. So every time you see like a new Ghost Heart song, it's the result of a lot of stuff being thrown on the cutting room floor and a lot of parts being tossed around that don't end up working for whatever reason. And for every song that's on the record, it's probably bombed live in several different versions over the course of, I don't know, a couple years. So it took a while to arrive at what we thought was a complete album.
So lyrically, who handles the lyrics? Are you in charge because you're the lead vocalist for the most part when it comes to lyrics? And is there a theme behind the Effigy?
Yeah, I write all the lyrics. And it just kind of happened this way, but it's like all these songs are sort of like a perfect contrast to the first album, The Tunnel. The Tunnel being like much darker, and these ones being a little bit more positive. The Tunnel, we got both the titles of the album come from the Edward Gorey tarot deck, the Fantod pack, and I bought while writing the songs of The Tunnel, I bought that tarot deck and was flipping through the cards, and I saw this card called The Tunnel, and it immediately was just like the name of the album. It was just this like stone archway and just black inside you can't see anything, and I thought that was like a a good image and a good way to sort of like sum up all those songs. And just like the Effigy, which is another card from the tarot deck, or from the Edward Gorey tarot deck, the Effigy sort of sums up all these songs. Again, it just kind of worked out like that.
So this is the first in a series of tarot card albums.
There's like 20 some, right?
You guys have a long career ahead of you, I think.
Well, it's like, do I have to stand close to the...
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so Sufjan Stevens said at one point he was going to write an album based on all 50 states, and then after like 2 of them just totally pretended he didn't say that. So, it's not like a legally binding statement.
No, it isn't. Well, let's hear something from the new album. What are you guys going to play for us first, and is there a backstory behind this particular song?
It's a song called Card Castle. I know I just said these songs are like a little bit more positive. This one is probably the darker one. But
back to the
it's
darkness.
a good transition from the Tunnel to the Effigy, because this is the first song on the record.
This is the first song on side B of the record.
Side B.
Side B. We have a side B. That's great. All right, here we go. Go start. From the Effigy, the upcoming sophomore album from Ghost Heart, I find it fascinating to watch the interplay between the various instruments because, of course, percussion is a huge part of what you guys do. There's a lot of intricate percussion, and at least 3 of you are playing percussion at various times. And then you're playing a keyboard, which I don't recognize immediately, which looks pretty vintage. What is the keyboard you're playing, Tim?
This is the Microkorg. I think it's like the most common synthesizer keyboard in all bands all over the world.
And we're also playing a bicycle rim. I see a tire rim here, which adds kind of some flavor. Is that your invention? Is that?
Well, I like to tinker with bikes, so we always had bike parts laying around the practice space. And Tim, I actually put it up on this stand and was just like spinning it and dragging a stick on it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
There's a lot of those types of effects, and how long does it take you guys to really assemble those sorts of pieces? Because the vocals, the percussion, it's really a very interesting and unusual sort of arrangement that you guys have. To me, it's not a typical rock band.
We deal with a lot of confused sound people. And sometimes, like, you know, guys at venues are really into it, and other times, like, very emphatically not.
I would bet.
Yeah, but like Cedric was saying, we just kind of grabbed stuff that was sitting around the place where we were practicing. Like, we sort of started out by doing like weird like folk songs. We'd sit around like with acoustic guitars, but then, you know, Tim brought, you know, a keyboard in one day, and there was a timpani drum that was sitting in his space, and we added that to the band. We don't have it here tonight, but we still use it on a couple songs, and that's always fun to drag into venues.
And of course, you got 2 guitars, Justin and Troy playing guitar. There's no bass. So how do you guys arrange who's going to be playing what and rhythm and lead? And
I don't think we think about it. Huh? No. A lot of times, it seems like a majority of our songs start with Tim. He'll have a vocal idea, a drum idea, kind of 2 different things, you know, maybe a sample and vocal or something he'll bring to the group, and then Troy and I kind of just keep playing and keep playing and keep playing until something sounds good. The bass wasn't so much of a focus on the first album. Not only did we, I don't think we had the Korg, or we just didn't use it nearly as often, but I think it became more evident that we wanted to kind of fill out the sound, give a little bit more low end on the second one. So Troy and I just have never had to kind of consider arrangement a whole lot, as long as it sounds good together between the 2 of us, and then we round it out with the other instruments.
So in a word, most bands do not like to describe their sound, do not like to describe exactly what kind of rock band they are. So if I gave you guys, if each one of you gives a word, well, how would you describe what Ghost Heart is about?
Who's supposed to start?
You go ahead, Troy.
Haunting.
That works.
Tribal.
I want to say different. I like to think we're a little different than most bands.
Atmospheric. And on top of that, let's start with Troy again. Which band do you think really influences, and from your favorites that you listen to, really you think is something that has influenced what Ghost Heart does?
The one we always used to get was Animal Collective, which I think is not totally accurate, but I see why people think that, because our sound is very heavily sample driven.
Right. Inventive, experimental.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those
Percussive.
special effects and the atmospheric sound. I think does seem to. Any other bands?
Tim's a way better singer than those guys, though.
Well, Tim's an amazing singer, actually. In fact, I think the vocals on this particular album are far more dynamic and upfront, and there's more to them, I think, than on the first album in a lot of ways. And I don't know if that was purposeful in terms of recording.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just kind of found my style, like, while writing the first record, you know, and I think the songs sound a little bit more cohesive on this album. So, you know, I just kind of stuck with what worked.
It was probably a little easier to write lyrics to these songs, since the first album, I feel like they were so experimental in structure.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm supposed to warn the audience a little bit because we're going to go into the second segment of songs, which will be a more extensive, sort of a longer piece, a couple of songs together. What songs are these from the new album?
We're going to get weird. These are...
If you're not already, right?
Yeah, right. We're going to move from our very accessible pop music into something a little different. We're going to do a pair of songs. The name of the first one is Quay, and the name of the second one is Circadian Rhythm, and these are the two songs that close the album.
All right.
This is something we try and do live, also meld songs together, because none of us want to talk on stage.
And I'm making you talk tonight.
As you can see, we're very charismatic. Commanding presence.
I'm turning you guys into actors on stage. So here we go again. Ghost Heart.
If I could sing you one more time, I'd tell you how much the time meant inside the smoke. Instead I'll shout it out into the open, the shadowy dark. I hope you're here wherever you are. Over the drums I bleed, I bleed, I bleed. Only we know exactly what to be sad of who I am. Only to be sad of who you are. Only to be sad of who I am. Only to be sad of who you are.
The hit single. You're listening to Ghost Heart, part of the Local Spins Live at River City Studios podcast here in Grand Rapids. Using every available instrument at your disposal on that particular tune, and including the tire rim, which I think was beautifully performed by both of you guys. Is there a difference between what you guys are doing in the studio and what you perform live? There are a lot of bands that pretty much say, hey, we're a live band and we do things our own way when we play live. Do you guys try to emulate precisely what you're doing in the studio when you perform these songs live?
Yeah, basically. I guess when we're in the studio, we're a creative band. We have the opportunity to get as layered and as dense as we would like, but we decide not to. We don't want to. We wanted to. What we can play live, that's what we record. For the most part, with the exception of a few overdubs here and there. But I think that's also the beauty of recording with Tommy and in his studio. He has the ability to take what we do and just give us that room and give us that space and just make it sound huge.
He's become like an unofficial fifth member almost.
Yeah.
He has like no problem telling us when to dial it back and like telling us when too much is too much.
And when you guys really are awful and when you're doing something right.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
I'm going to caution the audience, and now it's going to be your opportunity here in a minute to ask some questions. So really dig deep into your brain and think of something to ask these guys. You guys obviously are putting out this album at the end of the month. Is there a tour behind this? Do you guys plan once again to I know you guys once traveled to New York City and had your van absconded with or something. Troy had a great story about this. So, are you going to try to do that again and
We're going to not leave our van unattended in New York City is the thrust of our touring
probably
plans
a good
for
idea.
the future. Yeah, we don't have anything booked immediately out of town. I think early next year we'll work on getting maybe through the Midwest, like up to Minneapolis, Milwaukee, and then maybe look at doing the East Coast again. Aside from nearly losing the van, the East Coast was a pretty good experience. We did that a couple years ago.
Right. Yeah. You might want to lock it next time. The other idea is, do you try to hook up with other bands of a similar ilk or those that you might be complementary in essence, and try to tour with them? These days, of course, without labels, without a lot of the support that maybe bands used to get 20 or 30 years ago, you guys have to do a lot of things on your own, clearly, which makes it a lot more work. But are there other bands that you've sort of met over the years who you feel you can actually hook up with and actually sort of help yourselves when you're on tour?
I think like playing out of town, the first time out is the hardest, but you always make friends, especially because other bands are trying to like network and play in your town too. So the more you play out of town, the more connections you make, the more friends you make. Like we made some really good friends in Columbus, Ohio, and have traded shows with them. That's how we've done it anyway.
Do you care about getting a label? Do you care about seeking, maybe some support from an indie label or a label of some kind?
We put this record out without a label. Our first one was on Friction, the local label, and I think we just kind of at some point decided that we were going to do it on our own this time. Basically, I don't know, like, if you do it by yourself, you're not like, you don't have anything hanging over you, like we have to, pay back this debt, we have to do this and this and this to promote. So, now, the only thing that's at stake is what we get out of it and what, our interest is.
And have you all quit your day jobs to pursue this full time?
No.
Would you like to do that?
No, that sounds terrible. I mean,
they've already spent enough time with each
touring
other.
Is fun, but maybe 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah. The economics of that just don't work out. If you figure out a way to change that paradigm, definitely let me know. But there's this famous article that came out a couple years. I think it was in New York Magazine about Grizzly Bear, which is as big a band as you can be, in this genre of music. And those guys don't even have health insurance,
Sure.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that is an issue.
So, Like, I mean, at some point reality sets in. So I don't know if we ever aspired to have that sort of thing happen. We do this because we like it, and we like making music with each other, and everything that's happened on top of that has just been kind of incidental to that. Speaking for myself, I like track sequencing. I think it's awesome to like, this is gonna go here, like we have so much on this side of the record, we have so much on this side of the record, we have to fit things together like a puzzle. That's how I choose to listen to music. I know that it's not like what's done in 2014, but that's what we want to do, so I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. I mean, we're not like, we don't have a lot at stake here commercially, so we would just as soon do what we want to do.
Yeah, it is a singles-oriented environment. People download tracks rather than entire albums, and yet I think that's a lost art, is being able to put together an entire package, either a concept album or not, but the way in which you intended people to hear the whole thing, rather than, you know, one song and then they're gone.
We're that way with shows too. Like putting a set list together is, you know, there's a lot of debate that goes into that, like what flows, and you know, when do we want to put an older song in? You know, when are we going to do an encore? Like, you know, stuff like that.
Are you going to do an encore? Come on, everybody does an encore. But would you, for instance, at your CD release show, will you be performing this track by track all the way through the album?
Not, I don't think in the exact order that it's on there, but we'll do most of the record, I'm sure. Not all of it.
But that's the beauty about the live show too, because we can. I mean, we coordinated the album to sound a certain way. Orchestrated maybe, and then when we put together a live set list, it's the same type of thing, so we don't have to stick to one set every time.
Right.
As long as it flows, so we don't have to talk to the audience.
Yeah.
Basically, as we can.
They don't want to talk
we
to
want to play
people,
the
so
songs.
you guys got to talk to them apparently. Anybody else?
Our backs will be to the audience during the release show.
Mine will anyway.
I've seen that happen before. Well, I'm curious too. You know, it took a long time, obviously, for this album to finally emerge, and there's always that excitement when you finally get the copy of the CD. Are you planning on doing any other, like a vinyl release? Is that also part of this? You mentioned side A and side B, and I know vinyl has made a huge comeback, and it's almost like a great thing to be able to do, and yet on the other hand, it takes a long time to put that together.
There's talk of that. We haven't like figured out exactly what the procedure is going to be. Maybe by the time this is on the internet, we'll have figured that out. But that you know, there's financial concerns tied up in that too. So
no, really?
Yeah, turns out.
Especially when you're doing it because you love doing it.
Yeah.
It seems
Well,
like those go hand in hand.
We'd like to. It was recorded and mastered with that in mind. So I'd imagine at some point in the near future we'll have an actual LP to promote.
All right, so what are we going to finish off with here, boys?
This is a song called Seoa. I guess this is a good one to end on. This, for me anyway, like lyrically, this is really like the title track for me. It kind of sums up everything on the record about, I guess you could sum up the record in one word: transformation.
When you put a song like this together in particular, clearly this strikes me that this is not the kind of band that jumps into the studio and does it all in one take. That this was it a process? You come into a practice, this song in particular, and you flesh it out with maybe what you guys contribute. How did that work for this particular song?
I don't know exactly. I don't remember exactly how this one came together.
This was the easiest one, I think.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, songs with us, like, something clicks and we all understand each other. Like Justin said, a lot of times I'll come in with an idea, with a sample, with a drum beat, with some vocals, but it's hard to, like, communicate that, you know, exactly to these guys. So it takes a little bit of work to kind of work on the mood of the song. It's not about like finding exactly the right guitar riff or exactly the right vocals, but there's something that we all have to like get on the same page about. And yeah, this one did happen quicker. But
Seoa, Ghost Heart. Ghost Heart from the Effigy here at Local Spins Live at River City Studios. The first podcast here at River City Studios, but certainly not the last. You guys have restored my confidence that this is something that we can continue doing here because the performance is really tremendous in here. It sounds great. You guys will be having your CD release show November 29 at Founders Brewing with Vox Fedora and Backyard Songbook on the bill. I think it's $5 to get in, which is a bargain, right? And you guys have played Founders before. Are there favorite venues for you guys to play, or what? How do you feel about certain? Because for you, we've tried to get you like on the radio, and it's really tough to do an acoustic version of what you do. So in some cases, I would think some venues are more well suited to what you're doing than others.
I personally feel like Founders is the best. Feels good on stage, sounds great. They treat us well.
The sound guy is like,
he's terrific.
Guy.
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely does a great job.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being part of this this Local Spins Live podcast. Congratulations on the new album and 3 years of work that you put into it. And hopefully the van is still in good shape, or did you get rid of the van at this point?
She's still kicking.
There you go. See, you got it. You always need a van. Well, good for you. Well, thank you so much for being part of this, and thank you all for being part of this as well.
Thank you.
I'm sure that there will be a good crowd at the Founders when you finally come through. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thanks.